Hello and welcome back to the Film Club, the club where we talk about films we've been recently watching, viewing and enjoying. Let me know what you've been recently watching and enjoying, and if you've seen what I'm about to talk about, let me know what you thought about it. I've always been aware of Bob Dylan as an artist, but I'd be lying if I said I knew anything about him or really dive deep into his music beyond the surface level of just hearing him on the odd occasion or knowing about the fact that he wrote just like famous songs that people have done covers of, like Adele and things like that. And so going into a complete unknown, it was, pardon the pun, a complete unknown to me. I wouldn't have necessarily gone to this film if I wasn't intrigued by Timothée Chalamet. Like, that is my complete and honest truth. Like, if it didn't have these top actors and it wasn't this sort of exciting project that I knew he'd been working on, because I love him as an actor, and so I was very intrigued to see what he did with this. I know it's been in production for a few years, he's been learning guitar for it. If it didn't have those extra things attached to it, would I have gone and seen a film about Bob Dylan? Maybe not, but I was actually really pleasantly surprised by this film. I thought it was a brilliant take on, I wouldn't even necessarily call this a biopic, because in my opinion, the film's overall messaging and story, while Bob is at the centre of it, I don't think it's mainly about him and his life. I think this is a wider picture film about that society at that time and music at that time and sort of being pushed into a box and being categorized as one thing when you want another thing. I think that is more what it's about, and that's sort of shown by the fact that we don't see a whole lot of Bob Dylan's story. We see him from nothing, and we don't see anything prior to that. We just see him like his first sort of glimpse at fame, being able to perform for his idol, his legend, and then we see him rise to stardom, and then it's this tipping point where he wants to go from folk to just actually having a band, something a bit more than a guitar, something with a bit more oomph and a bit more modernized. Like, it's throughout the film he's pushed into this corner of, when he first starts recording, they don't want him to do any original songs. As folk music, you have to do just the classics and you just have to do re-records, and he doesn't want to do that, and so he pushes it out and he does his own stuff and is recognised for it. And then when he tries to do it again, he and change that sort of aspect of it and wants to become more than just folk music, he gets pushed into the corner again and told, no, you can't do that. And when he pushes back and performs these songs, he gets booed at. He gets absolutely, people throwing stuff at him on the stage, and that, and the big part of that for me was when he then comes back out and does one of his old songs, and everyone's instantly cheering and happy to see him again. And it's just how fickle and easy it is for people to change when you're in that position, and how no matter what he does or wants to push out, people always want one thing. People always want that one hit. He wants to it's like when he is performing with Joan, and Joan is like, come on, let's play the classic, and he's like, oh, I don't want to play this, let's play something new, and he gets the pushback there again. And it's something you see with artists all the time in the real world. They get big off one hit song, and then everyone just wants that one thing from them, and they're sort of like, but I'm more than this one song. I have other songs, I have other styles, etc. And so for me, that was the biggest theme in the film. And I did love that sort of messaging. I see that a lot in society, so I was interested for a film to dive into that. All of the performances in this film are absolutely fantastic. Like, Timothée does an absolutely stellar job. Like, his mannerisms and his just demeanour and everything is just like, I don't know much about Bob Dylan, so I don't know how spot on it is or not, but regardless of whether it's spot on, the performance is fantastic. Like, just how he carries himself and the consistency of it, and like, it's so interesting because we know Timothée Chalamet as an actor, as a person. Like, we've seen him on SNL, we've seen him on all these other things, and he's a confident, like, just bubbly guy. So then to see him like be able to dive into such a I wouldn't necessarily call Bob Dylan twisted, but just like socially, I don't know what the word is, but he doesn't get social cues, and we see that throughout the film with the relationships that he has. Honestly, this film didn't paint Bob Dylan in the best of lights. I don't know if he's known to just be a dick, but like, I mean, Jones says it when they're in the kitchen. She's like, "You're kind of an asshole, Bob," and it was like, yeah, he kind of is. Like, he kind of. You feel annoyed for him because there's parts of the film where, you know, he's like trying to get the relationship back with the original girl that he was with before cheating on her and things like that. But then at the same time, he prioritizes his music and his passion. It's sort of that message of like obsessiveness. We've seen it in films like Whiplash and La La Land. It's that obsessiveness to be something, to succeed, and nothing else really matters, regardless of, even if it's there in your life, you kind of neglect it, and you hurt people along the way to get to where you feel like you need to be. So yeah, Timothy is outstanding in this film, but the whole supporting cast is, like, Ed Norton, brilliant. I don't actually know the names of the female actors. Okay, Monica Barbardo and Ellie Fanning, both absolutely brilliant. Like, they play the role so well. The whole film is so encapsulated in the time period that it's in. Like, from the sets, the props, the just like everything about it, the costumes. It's so brilliantly done in its time period, and this is what I mean when I say it's not a biopic of the normal sense. It's more so to do with that time period and that part. It doesn't just go through his whole life. It just goes through, I think, less than 10 years maybe. It might even be like 5 years, I think. So it's less of a biopic and more of just a snapshot of the 60s, which I think was really cool and an interesting time because it was a very developing time. Obviously, absolute props to Timothy for like learning the guitar and singing every single thing. I think it brought such a authenticity to the film, knowing that it was him doing it, and it sucks you in more and makes you believe that it's like just such a real performance. And yeah, like, his singing and his guitar playing is outstanding. Like, the guitar playing especially is crazy. To have learned that in just a few years is just props to him. Like, he was doing Dune at the same time as doing that. That's mental. The guy who plays Johnny Cash, brilliant. Like, as well, just like this is what I mean. All the supporting cast and all the little people dotted around. It adds to that sort of the sense of just this time period being alive, and there being all these different people and creatives, and it was good. This was a good film. So let me know if you've seen A Complete Unknown. What did you think about it? And I will see you next time on The Film Club.